Hey everybody, welcome to Crack Pack Tuesday number 180 on the Mana Leek. I'm John as always, and we've got ourselves another pack of Ravnica Allegiance here. Such a fun draft format. Much more fun on mtgO and paper. The bots, they don't understand gates. You probably should be drafting the gate deck on Arena, but elsewhere, super fun format. We've got a pack, so we're going to crack this pack, as the title suggests, and see what's in it. And not only see what's in it, we're actually going to talk about what we would take pack one, pick one, if this was a draft. Now, every patron over at patreon.com/themanaleak at the $5 level or above, I guess all 5 fingers should be on camera there, will get a chance to win all the cards in the pack each week. And this week it's going to go to Harry Needham, so he gets all the cards in here, or if he doesn't want any of them, none of them, or just one of them, or whatever he wants. So we're going to crack this open, see what's in it, and see what we would take pack one, pick one, if this was a draft. Up first, we have ourselves a Rubble Slinger. Rubble Slinger is 2 and a Gruul, 2 red or 2 green for a creature human warrior. It's a 2/3 with reach. This thing's great. This thing is just super solid. It just shuts down the Afterlife flyers. You never really face too many of them typically, but shutting them down is very, very good. I would actually play this in the main board. I wouldn't even bother siding it in. It's just solidly fine on its own. It's nowhere near a first pick, though. It's a very mid-pack pickup, but you'll typically be fine with these in your deck as like a 22nd card or even 21st card. Up next is Impassioned Orator. Impassioned Orator is 1 and a white for a creature human cleric. It's a 2/2, and whenever another creature ETBs, you gain a life. This card's also fine. It's a bear with a decent upside. Gaining 1 life can be somewhat important if you're up against Rakdos or something that's going a little bit fast, if you are trying to get to the late game. And it does synergize a little bit well with Afterlife tokens, getting kind of a double ETB trigger, triple even if you have Afterlife 2. Yeah, it's just an all-around fine card, but right, like the Rubble Slinger, you'll play it, but you're going to pick it way mid-pack. Up next is Humongulus. Humongulus is 4 and a blue for a creature homunculus. It's a 2/5 with hexproof. Not much going on here. If you find yourself really desperately needing to get to the late game, then this can help you get there. But it takes a very specific deck that wants to play this. There just aren't counters running around, or at least that you can place on demand anyways. And there's not, there's no auras. There's one. There's just one. So not really sold on Humongulus. It's a very sideboard only kind of card, or a very niche deck. So very low if ever pick. Up next is Gravelhide Goblin. Gravelhide Goblin is 1 and a red for a creature goblin shaman. It's a 2/1. You can pay 3 and a green to give it +2/+2 until end of turn. If you are not in Rakdos, or if you are not in Gruul, if you're in Rakdos, this card's okay. It's a 2/1 for 2. You'll play that if you have to. It's like a 23rd card. If you're in Gruul, this card is okay. It's more than the other version of okay in Rakdos, but it's not that much better. It's fine. You'll play it. It'll fill out your curve if that's what you're looking for, and it's relevant later game. It can be a 4/3. It's just fine. It's just fine, but it's nowhere near a first pick. Up next is another fine card, Axebane Guardian, or Axebane Beast. Axebane Beast is 3 and a green for a creature beast. It's a 3/4 with vanilla, with flavor text. It doesn't do much, but it blocks. And it can attack. It's okay. It's just okay. Much like Gravelhide Goblin and much like every card we've had here, you'll play it and you will never, ever, 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 ever first pick it. Up next is Watchful Giant, something a little bit less than okay. 5 and a white for a creature giant soldier. It's a 3/6. When it ETBs, you make a 1/1 human creature token. It's way too expensive. It's 6 mana for a 4/7 power, but one's a 1/1, which is super irrelevant by the time this card comes down. This card just doesn't do enough for me. I have played it in sealed, which is obviously a lot slower, and I think that's something to caution yourself on. Everybody says this format is slow, and that's not exactly correct. The format can be slow, 17 O's and a W, but it can also be blisteringly fast, and you have to respect that. You have to respect the Gruul decks. You have to respect the Rakdos decks. You can't just play like 7 of these and say, oh, I've got time. So you've got to be careful, and you have to make sure that your big end drops are impactful. And this is just absolutely in no way, shape, or form impactful. It's not worth the 6 mana. I never, ever, ever really want to play this card, and certainly not first pick it. Card that I would actually be okay first picking is Aeromunculus. Aeromunculus is 1 green blue for a creature Homunculus Mutant at common. It's a 2/3 flyer, and you can pay 2 green blue to adapt 1. This thing's solid. As I said in my set review, this is Chapelgeist from original Innistrad. 2/3 flyer for 3 is fine. That's more than fine. That is a solid okay. An O period K period. And the fact that it can be upgraded to a 3/4 is super relevant. This card is great. This is the bread and butter of your Simic decks. Just a solid card, and I would be fine first picking it. I would feel like the pack was weak, but I'd feel fine first picking it. So it's going to hang out in frame. Up next is Goblin Gathering. Goblin Gathering is 2 and a red for a sorcery at common. Create a number of 1/1 red goblin creature tokens equal to 2 plus the number of cards named Goblin Gathering in your graveyard, which doesn't count this. This is still in the stack as it resolves. So this one gets you 2, the next one gets you 3, etc. Not really worth it. Not really worth it. If I happen to have like a couple of Fireblade artists, it might go up because these represent 2 damage to the face without having to attack. But beyond that, I'm super out on Goblin Gathering. I've never seen it go off. I've never really wanted to play it. I don't think I have ever played it. Super out, not a first pick, and I don't really want it in my deck. Senate Griffin is another good card. Senate Griffin is 2 Azorius for a creature Griffin at common. It's a 3/2 flyer, and when it ETBs, you get to scry 1. It's like half of a Cloud Reader Sphinx. This card's just great. It goes in every white deck, it goes in every blue deck, and boy, does it go in your Azorius decks. Very, very, very good card. Another strong potential first pick here. I would definitely have a little bit of a hard choice between the Aeromunculus and the Senate Griffin. I think the Senate Griffin wins out just because it goes in more decks. It goes in every white and every blue, whereas Aeromunculus has to go in Simic or Splash. So Senate Griffin is also going to hang out in frame here, and it could be a potential. And that looks like 9 commons, which means we've got ourselves a foil. Our first uncommon is Eyes Everywhere. Eyes Everywhere is 2 and a blue for an enchantment at uncommon. At the beginning of your turn, or at the beginning of your upkeep, scry 1. Pay 5 and a blue, exchange control of Eyes Everywhere and target non-land permanent. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. This card's great. I told y'all in my set review, all of the pros said, it's not very good. And now, surprise, it's actually pretty decent. As I said, scrying every turn starting on turn 3 is just really, really, really good. And then if you're not against blue, just getting to permanently take their bomb and end the game pretty soon is very good. And even if you're against blue, you steal their bomb and end the game in 1 turn ideally, and everything's fine. It doesn't matter that they can trade back. It doesn't matter that they get to scry every turn. You obviously don't trade this all willy-nilly. You don't get to 6 mana and say, aha, I'm going to steal your Axebane Beast. You steal an actual really good game-ending threat, or something that will allow your creatures to get through, etc. Eyes Everywhere is a great card. I'd strongly consider first picking it. I think I'll keep it in frame here. I don't actually know if I would take it over a Senate Griffin, but we'll keep it in frame for now. Our second uncommon is Borlac Clan Crusher. Borlac Clan Crusher is 3 red-green for a creature Ogre Warrior at uncommon. It's a 4/4 tap. Remove a +1/+1 counter from a creature you control. Borlac Clan Crusher deals 2 damage to any target. If you are getting a lot of counters, you have a lot of Riot, or you are splashing this with Adapt, etc., this can represent a fair bit of damage, and it's a card that I haven't played yet, but I really want to build around and I really want to try it. I've seen people play it, and I've seen it have some good effect, so I think it is fine. I don't know that you first pick it. I think you want to feel... I think you're most comfortable being in Simic, maybe already splashing for like a Skewer the Critics, and then pack 3 you see this and you go, sure, this works. Or you're already in a Riot Heavy Gruul deck and you see this pack 2, pack 3, and you go, sure. Pack 1, pick 1, I'm not sold on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm currently not sold on it, so it's not going to hang out in frame. Our final uncommon is Sphinx of the Guild Pact. Sphinx of the Guild Pact is 7 generic mana for an artifact creature Sphinx. It's a 5/5 flyer. It's all colors, and it has hexproof from monocolored. It's really expensive for a 5/5 flyer. For 3 mana less, I can get a 3 power flyer, just 2 power less, and it's got a much more relevant ability on it. I think Sphinx is just way too expensive. There's no decks that really want this. I don't ever really want to play it, and I'm certainly never first picking it. Our rare is Gutterbones. Gutterbones is a single black mana for a creature skeleton warrior at rare. It's a 2/1. It enters tapped, and you can pay 1 and a black to return it from your graveyard to your hand if you've dealt if your opponent has lost life this turn. Spectacle. It's fine. It's nice and aggressive, and if you are in Rakdos, it's going to be very, very, very good. In Orzhov, a little bit less good because you're typically not planning on just going balls to the wall aggro starting on turn 2, but it's still okay there. It can be first pickable. I don't think I'd actually first pick it over Griffin or Eyes Everywhere. And I don't even know if I'd first pick it over Aeromunculus, to be honest. So I don't think it's going to hang out in frame here. But if this was a weaker pack, I think Gutterbones is definitely in the running. Our foil is a Skatewing Spy. Skatewing Spy is 3 and a blue for a creature human rogue mutant. At uncommon, it's a 2/3, and you can pay 5 and a blue to adapt to, and all of your creatures that have counters on them have flying. Skatewing Spy is really good. It's definitely a strong first pick. Obviously, it doesn't do anything to our other 2 picks that are already flying, but if you can pick up Mr. Skitters, the Skittering Eel, making that a 5/5 flyer on turn 5 is really good, and all the other counter shenanigans that you can do. I'd be pretty happy first picking a Skatewing Spy, especially because it still kind of can work in Azorius, but even better in Gruul Splash Blue. So I think Skatewing Spy is a strong first pick as well. We've got a Rakdos Gate in behind here. So out of these 4 picks, I'm actually not 100% sold on what I would pick. I think the safe pick is Senate Griffin. I think Aeromunculus is probably not in the conversation. It's a common. You have a decent chance of getting more of those. And I don't think, as much as I like it, Eyes Everywhere is in the conversation either. I think it is between Senate Griffin and Skatewing Spy. And I think I've had enough success that I do think I actually take the Skatewing Spy and just build around it. It's a really, really, really good card. And a lot of the cards that it functions really well with are common, and so it's not too hard to build around that deck. It's not like you have to get a bunch of specific rares. So I'm on the Skatewing Spy. Let me know what you are on. Would you take the Griffin? Would you take the Eyes Everywhere, the Gutterbones, the Aeromunculus? There are a number of first pick potential cards in here. Let me know in the comments down below what you would have taken. If you have any, if you like the how do I start this intro? If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can always find me on Twitter at @TheManaLeek. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. You can find me at Facebook.com/TheManaLeek, Twitch.tv/TheManaLeek, and Patreon.com/TheManaLeek. If you want to help the channel out, and if you want to get yourself a playmat like this one right here, or any of the 49 pages of other ones, or print your own, etc., you can go to inkedgaming.com and use the promo code ManaLeek10, all one word, 10 as the number. Save 10% off your order and help the channel out. If you like the content, click that thumbs up button. Click subscribe if you want to see more. And if you do have questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, see y'all next time.